Dustin Davis here. Big news coming in, and Bears fans, a potential blockbuster pass rush move is suddenly on the table, and the price could reshape Chicago's future overnight. Another season concluded without the breakthrough fans anticipated, and the front office now confronts decisions that will either accelerate or derail the franchise's championship timeline. With significant cap constraints and multiple key contributors hitting free agency, the organization's next moves carry unusual weight. The margin for error has narrowed. Chicago's defensive backfield could evaporate entirely if negotiations falter. The running game remains inconsistent despite flashes of potential, and the pass rush continues to underperform at levels that no contender can sustain. Each weakness demands capital the Bears may not possess, yet each also represents an opportunity to vault ahead of division rivals through strategic aggression. The coming months will reveal whether general manager Ryan Poles can navigate these overlapping challenges with the creativity his tenure has occasionally demonstrated. First of all, let me take a moment to ask for your help. If you enjoy our videos, give us a like. It's a great way to keep the content going. Thanks for the support. Negotiations surrounding All-Pro free safety Kevin Byard could determine whether Chicago enters March with a functional secondary or a position group requiring complete reconstruction. Should contract talks with Byard reach an impasse, the Bears may pivot toward acquiring a proven veteran through trade rather than gambling on the open market. Chicago's situation at safety borders on crisis. Byard's camp will command a significant multi-year commitment, and the Bears face roughly $13 million in mandatory cap clearing just to stabilize their roster before the league year begins. Once those obligations are addressed, Chicago's flexibility to offer a veteran safety in his mid-30s the sort of lucrative extension he'll seek may prove limited, particularly if his representatives leverage competing interests to drive the price upward. Atlanta's Jessie Bates III emerges as logical contingency. Should Byard's market exceed what the Bears can justify, Jessie Bates III represents a younger alternative with comparable credentials and immediate availability. The three-time second-team All-Pro currently plays for the Atlanta Falcons, but the franchise appears poised to enter a rebuild that could make established veterans tradable assets. Bates validated his elite status throughout 2025. He collected 3 interceptions, broke up 6 passes, and registered 98 tackles while limiting opposing quarterbacks to a 56.3% completion rate when targeted, a benchmark he's achieved repeatedly across 8 NFL seasons. His durability remains exceptional. Bates has missed only 3 games in his career and consistently plays over 1,000 snaps annually. Atlanta's organizational overhaul is well underway. The Falcons hired Kevin Stefanski as head coach and appointed Matt Ryan as president of football operations, with the general manager search still ongoing. Franchises in transition often trade players whose timelines don't align with a multi-year rebuild, and Bates, at 29, with 1 year remaining on his contract, fits that profile. SpotTrack projects Bates will carry approximately a $13 million cap hit in 2026, the final season of his 4-year, $64 million deal. That figure sits above the $8 to $12 million annual range Byard is projected to command, but the 3-year age difference and potential for a longer-term solution could justify the higher short-term cost while Chicago's competitive window remains open. The hypothetical trade would send Chicago's 2026 4th-round pick, acquired from the Los Angeles Rams, to Atlanta in exchange for Bates and the balance of his contract. Ideally, the Bears would negotiate a short extension concurrent with the trade to avoid treating Bates as a 1-year rental. General manager Ryan Poles has demonstrated comfort with creative roster construction. In 2025, he acquired All-Pro guards Joe Thuney and Jonah Jackson via trade, signaling a willingness to use draft capital to address immediate needs. The same strategic thinking could apply to Bates, who offers leadership, consistency, and a defensive upgrade that aligns with the franchise's current trajectory. Chicago should exhaust every avenue to retain Byard before exploring alternatives. Byard's 2025 campaign was exceptional by any measure. He led the NFL in interceptions for the second time with 7 picks, added 93 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, and 8 pass breakups, then earned both Pro Bowl selection and first-team All-Pro recognition while maintaining his reputation for reliable availability. General manager Ryan Poles addressed Byard's status directly during a January 21 media session. He stated, "I think Kevin is a special player. I have no problem saying that's a player that we would like to have back. But again, when you add the other safeties entering free agency into that mix and all the other decisions we have across the roster, cap restraints, things like that, it will be a challenge, but that's part of what we do." I keep thinking about how thin this secondary already looks. If negotiations stall and Chicago hesitates, that's risky. Securing a proven starter quickly, whether it's Byard or someone else, might prevent the defense from taking an early season step back. While the secondary demands attention, Chicago's offensive identity hinges on another critical decision in the backfield this offseason. Kenneth Walker's postseason surge didn't just help Seattle reach the Super Bowl, it fundamentally altered his market value. The running back amassed 161 total yards in the championship game and became the first player at his position to earn Super Bowl MVP honors in 28 years, a performance that forced teams and agents to recalibrate his worth heading into free agency. SpotTrack's initial projection placed Walker's annual value slightly above $9 million, but that estimate appears outdated given recent market trends and his playoff showcase. A figure closer to $11 million per season seems more realistic, a number that aligns with comparable contracts and reflects the premium attached to proven postseason production. Acquiring Walker presents financial and philosophical challenges for Chicago. The Bears currently project approximately $15 million over the salary cap and must address their own high-priority free agents, including all-pro safety Kevin Byard. That said, standard cap maneuvers, restructures, extensions, and strategic releases could generate the required flexibility if the front office prioritizes the addition. Cutting DeAndre Swift and releasing Tremaine Edmunds would free an estimated $22 million in cap space, creating a path to pursue Walker without compromising other roster priorities. If Walker's contract settled around $11 million annually over 2 to 3 years, the investment merits serious consideration, not because of one exceptional game, but because his draft pedigree, physical profile, and performance when given legitimate workload all support that valuation. Walker's counting statistics through his first 4 NFL seasons don't fully reflect his talent, largely due to circumstances beyond his control. Seattle's offensive line inconsistencies, limited opportunities, and the presence of backup Zach Charbonnet, who led the Seahawks with 12 rushing touchdowns, siphoning touches that would have belonged to the lead back. When Charbonnet tore his ACL in the divisional round, Walker's ceiling became evident. He displayed the power, acceleration, vision, and contact balance that many draft analysts were surprised he fell to the second round in 2022. His skill set compares favorably to the league's elite runners in terms of pure physical tool, even as modern scheme preferences and receiving expectations vary across offenses. Shared workload depressed Walker's contract projections, but it also preserved his body, a valuable byproduct for a running back entering his prime earning years. He won't command Jonathan Taylor-level money at $14 million annually, nor should he sign for the low $9 million projection. A market outcome in the $11 to $12 million range over a brief 2 to 3 year term makes sense and would position him among the upper tier of compensated backs while balancing short-term salary certainty against immediate on-field impact. Chicago retains Kyle Monengai through 2028, but that shouldn't preclude an upgrade that materially improves the offense if cost and term remain prudent. The Bears don't require Walker to contend, but with Caleb Williams still on his rookie contract, adding a high-ceiling rusher represents a sensible, high-upside gamble to maximize a closing championship window. Teams with quarterbacks on rookie deals often make one aggressive skill position addition to accelerate contention. What do you think? Leave your comments. On the defensive side of the ball, a different kind of opportunity has emerged, one that could transform the Bears' pass rush overnight. Chicago's pass rush deficiencies could be addressed through one blockbuster move if the Bears choose to pursue Max Crosby, the elite defensive end who reportedly informed Las Vegas he wants out. That development creates a high-cost, high-reward decision point for a franchise willing to expend significant draft capital to solve an area of persistent weakness. On February 9th, Jason LaCanfora reported that Crosby's representatives have been circulating a clear message throughout the league. The player is prepared to leave Las Vegas, and teams willing to surrender substantial draft assets should express interest. The campaign from Crosby's camp centers on his frustration at being held out of games late in the regular regular season, despite feeling healthy, with agents telling prospective suitors he will not play for the Raiders in 2026 and intends to suit up elsewhere. League executives, however, don't universally believe Las Vegas will simply accommodate Crosby's wishes. Some front office sources expect the Raiders to hold firm and demand compensation that exceeds what other clubs are willing to surrender, which could complicate or entirely prevent trade negotiations. That tension between a player's desire to relocate and a team's asset valuation sits at the center of any potential transaction. Jake Laser of Fox Sports suggested Crosby's costs could surpass the package involved in the Micah Parsons trade, specifically multiple first-round picks plus a high-end veteran, and potentially exceed the 2 first-round selections and defensive tackle Kenny Clark that Green Bay sent Dallas for Parsons in August 2025. Against that backdrop, Chicago might attempt to influence the market by offering 2 first-round picks, 2026 and 2027, plus this year's 4th-round selection, number 129 overall, to secure Crosby. That proposal would sit above the valuation ESPN's Bill Barnwell forecasted for Crosby entering last season, but franchises routinely pay premiums to acquire generational pass rushers and to deny conference rivals the same opportunity. Chicago holds the number 25th overall selection and should reasonably project to pick in the high teens to mid-20s in 2027, which reduces the sting of surrendering consecutive first-rounders. Acquiring Crosby would pair him opposite Montez Sweat, who recorded 10 sacks in 2025, and still leave Chicago with selections at numbers 57 and 89 to address safety and interior defensive line after the organization reshaped its offensive line and skill positions last offseason through free agency, trades, and the draft. Chicago's pass rush underperformed significantly last season. The team generated only 35 sacks and ranked 31st of 32 franchises in pass rush win rate at 29%, a deficiency severe enough to justify aggressive action. Crosby is a 5-time Pro Bowler, now 28 years old, who, in this hypothetical scenario, would remain under team control for 4 seasons, essentially his entire prime. Risk exists. Crosby's injury history has expanded over the past 2 years, and his advanced metrics have declined according to Pro Football Focus. Still, he finished 2025 with 10 sacks in 15 games and registered 28 tackles for loss, the latter figure trailing only Defensive Player of the Year Myles Garrett. For a Bears defense that struggled to generate consistent pressure, the immediate upside of pairing Crosby with Sweat could outweigh the considerable expense. Chicago possesses the theoretical draft assets required, faces a clear positional need, and employs a coaching staff capable of integrating a top-tier edge rusher quickly, but only if the front office concludes the price is justified and if Las Vegas ultimately chooses to complete the transaction. I'll be honest, watching that pass rush last season made it clear something drastic is needed. Pairing Crosby with Sweat could transform this front overnight, but giving up multiple first-rounders is a move you absolutely have to get right. Leave your opinion about this movement. What do you think? Before you go, hit that like and subscribe button. Be part of our community and stay updated. Let's keep Bears strong together. Catch you in the next one.